Good evening. Oh my goodness. How's everybody doing this evening? Laid back, bored, drinking. No, this is not wine. This is tea. And it's good tea too. I'm not sure what this is. My little sister, she left me a whole bunch of teas. I drink the tea every now and then. Although she left me, she's a little bit of a herbalist. One of the teas she left was a little weird. I think it was like a maternal tea or like a feminine tea or something. Made my nipples a little sore. I don't know. Be careful with herbalists. So I was sitting here thinking, and I was thinking about a rice plant. A rice plant has over 50,000 genes. Hang on, let me turn the music down a little bit. Hopefully everybody's doing well this evening. I'll talk a little alien theory. Always a fun topic. I don't always get a chance to talk about it because people trying to invade the world, kill everybody. Let me turn this down. All right. Everybody's trying to invade the world, take over things. We got to talk about y'all. Stop murdering people and killing folk. We can't talk about aliens and fun stuff. I think when we look up, those are the most interesting conversations. I get tired of looking down. Looking down is boring. People stupid. I love people, but people are stupid. So I was thinking about rice. Yes, Margaret, rice, baby. I was thinking about rice. A rice plant has over 50,000 genes. Can't walk. Can't talk. Can't make a computer. Can't take a selfie. But human beings and rice plants, they've been here for what, almost 1 billion years? Hundreds of millions of years? Human beings have only been here, what, conservative estimates, a couple 100,000 years? And in a couple 100,000 years, we developed 26,000 genes, and those 26,000 genes somehow we figured out how to talk, how to walk, how to make computers, how to lie, how to cheat, how to steal, how to make a bank, how to enslave a whole damn earth. How does that make any sense? How does it make any sense that we've been evolving for less than 200,000 years and we develop intelligence and only 26,000 genes randomly, luckily develop intelligence? It makes no sense. It makes no sense. So I was kind of thinking about alien theory tonight. Why haven't the aliens come back? Like I don't think about if aliens exist. Like I think those conversations are over. I think all of the really deep conversations to me are around why aren't they coming back? Or if they are, why are they selective in coming back? Why are they selective in, I guess, who they appear in front of? I've never seen them. I've never seen a UFO. I have friends who have. I haven't. Janie's saying because we have souls. I know. You know what? I agree with you, Janie. We definitely have souls. I'm not sure I know what a soul is, though. Like, is a soul something that's quantumly entangled with the physical environment, or is our soul something here physically? Like I know that there have been studies that show that when you die, you lose a couple ounces or something like that. But the more and more I think about quantum physics, like I think that our souls are somehow attached in some sort of a multi-dimensional way. And like through epigenetics, it drives DNA and what we do and how our genes are expressed and things like that. But I agree. I think we do have some sort of a soul. You know what I like, Janie? I like the movie K-Pax. If y'all haven't seen K-Pax, you got to watch K-Pax. I know it's a Kevin Spacey movie, but this actually was one that was really, really worth it. Where aliens or multi-dimensional creatures or humans in the future, whatever you want to call it, they actually somehow transmit into our brains. Uh, actually, Natalia, her name Natalia. She posted a good link a minute ago. I just shared it back out where they took experiments where they take one particle and there was another particle. They split them. Took one 16 miles away and the other 16 miles, or 16 miles apart, and they used some sort of magnetic energy around it, and the particle that they did that to, the other reacted to it. Like, we know quantum entanglement's a real thing, so maybe souls are quantumly entangled. um Gaia says they live among us. Gaia, I think you might be right. That's kind of a scary thing. Somebody said K-Pax. Yeah, K-P-A-X. Last time I checked, it was on Netflix. It was a phenomenal movie. And it was a spoiler alert. I gave it away. You're really supposed to watch the movie, but it was a good one. You really got to watch it. They live among us. You know, Gaia, I think maybe they live among us, but are the aliens physically coming here, or are they somehow using energy and projecting themselves into us? I believe, honestly, I believe that Nikola Tesla, Einstein, and like certain one of our leaders, the people who just showed amazing abilities that we just don't understand, I think perhaps maybe they temporarily were remote controlled or something. Like, I think the concepts that we have, they come from whatever all of this is, like the concepts of genetic engineering. I think that's probably because that's where religion came from. There was some sort of genetic engineer that came here a long time ago and took these little monkeys with 20,000 genes, added a few genes to it that gave them intelligence, so they didn't have to evolve for another million years or billion years to develop it. That maybe this God species things is just, they're just like 5 billion years old, and they developed, and they probably had millions of genes, but they just took the ones that were most intelligent and they put them in monkeys, and they ended up being us, you know. But in terms of them flying here, that's a scary concept. If you think that they're physically here, like, that's deep. It's deep to think that there are creatures that have that type of capability to fly the vastness of space and come here. It just, to me, it just means that we're just we're just bugs. Like, we could be totally splattered by a creature that can make a ship and fly here physically. So I don't know. Good question. Hey Mo, you think I'm way out there? I'm not sure if I'm out there. For me, it's a thing of, we lose sight of what's important when we focus too much on the nonsense that happens on this planet, and we don't think about the future. If we don't think about the future, like, what brought the French together? The French came together because the English were there. They had a common threat. And what brought the French and the English together at times? It's because, you know, Spain, and I'm kind of pushing it out there. What brought Europe together? Africa. What brought the United States together? Saudi Arabia, 9/11. I think that you bring people together when they have a common reason to be together. And I suspect that if we can admit, one, that we're not alone, but two, that one day these things might show up, not just in some sort of a quantum entanglement energy spiritual way and controlling us through a Christ, the Buddha, or whatever it is, but they might actually come here. Like I like the galaxy behind the universe, or the galaxy behind me. because it looks kind of like the Milky Way galaxy. We're on one of the outer spirals, like we're way out here on the outskirts. We're in the country. We're not even in the center of the galaxy where all the other life is developing, and it explains why we're pretty much isolated. But if we actually can get out into space, and we are, and we haven't developed beyond violence, we haven't developed beyond the stupid things we do. I mean, my God, I mean, think about it like this. If we really are 200,000 years old and we're still raping each other, like imagine if we can have that level of violence after 200,000 years. Imagine a creature that could actually come here from a million light years away and it didn't evolve its violence out. Can you think of what they would do to us? I mean, like, really think about that. 'Cause I was thinking a little while back that maybe in order to make it into space, that we had to develop higher thought, and we had to develop some sort of collective, common sense, common ground to actually make it into space. But if we can make it into space now and we're violent, then it would make sense that other species that are malevolent could also make it into space. And what if they come here? That might suck. That might suck a little bit. And we're still fighting over oil. We're still, we're still, I don't know. Let me see what y'all are talking about. Somebody, who was that? Brother Donnell's talking about, I think I saw a little bit, the Anunnaki. Well, if the Anunnaki come back, well, the good thing about the Anunnakis, they had a vested interest in us, right? Like if that's real, and Zechariah Sitchin and the Sumerian tablets, like I think a lot of that has a lot of credibility. Like I know that there's a couple websites that are denying, his research, but he nailed a few things, right? Like he nailed the Sumerians knowing how many planets are in the solar system. He nailed that there's a larger planet that they call Nibiru that's supposed to be out there. Since the 1980s, NASA's admitted that there's a larger body out there, Planet X, Nibiru. And how in the world would Zechariah Sitchin know that? He said he read it on the Sumerian tablets. In the Anunnaki, the whole, story that he translated was that they came here to mine gold for their atmosphere, and that they genetically engineered us from monkeys, and they have the pictures, and they found a lot of ancient gold mines in Africa, which is supposedly where the Anunnaki were genetically modifying these creatures to do their mining. So it's a real interesting thing. Why do aliens have to be a threat? Janie, I used to think that they weren't, but now I'm paying attention to us and thinking about the fact that we're not evolving past our violence, and it actually looks like we're gonna make it out into space, further, while war is still a concept. And so if we can make it out into space while war is a concept, I think that you'll have peaceful creatures out there, but I think then you'll also have nefarious ones too. Christine said, I doubt a grand experiment. I kind of think we were an experiment. I don't know that we're grand. Like I don't think that we're all that special. I think that we're unique in that, we're from this Earth biosphere, and we're this colony where these aliens started us and created us from the dust of the earth, the microbiology that was here, and monkeys or whatever other DNA it put together so we could exist on this planet. And I think that's what they do. I think whatever those creatures are, they fly around, they're genetic engineers, they're just master scientists. We call them gods, but they're starting life all over. And maybe they come back every now and then, millions or billions of years, and check on us and see if we actually evolved. And, they help us with agriculture and science and mathematics and things like that. But I think they kind of got like what is it? Federation of Planets, Star Trek. I think there's some sort of a non-interference thing where they let us evolve to see if we are of value. And if we're not of value, then I think they flick that asteroid and the world gets destroyed by flood, the way Gilgamesh and Noah and some of the other ancient stories talked about. Even the Egyptians, they actually found that the Egyptian pyramids were submerged under salt water. They've actually found mollusks in at least one of the Egyptian temples. So we know great floods have taken over this planet. Um, they are here. They have always been here. I think you're right, Donnell. You trying to tell me you're an alien, brother? You trying to tell me? Oh man, we went to school. We actually went to school with a couple brothers that saw some UFOs. Donnell in college. Time and space are relative. Ooh, River, gone. Time and space are relative. Scary thoughts that the future is now, the past is now, and now is now, based on the bend in space that I guess we are, or that we're in tune with. That time to us is something, and time to these God creatures or whatever is nothing. Like, isn't there a scripture that says something like, to man, time, one day for man is, or 1,000 years for God is like one day to man, something like that, something deep. Common reason, even if it is a lie. We are all seeded by aliens. They're our ancestors. Gaia, I think you're right. And I think we call them gods because we didn't know what we were looking at. And it doesn't make them any less omnipotent. I don't think that changes anything. I mean, a genetic engineer is a genetic engineer. Some sort of master scientific species is still as interesting and mystical as a puff of God on smoke in the cloud. But you know where I think we get lost, guy? I think we get lost when I think religion destroys it. I do. And it sounds bad, but I think that we lose sight of the 10 commandments, the basic rules, the fundamentals that these creatures gave us to not kill each other, murder each other, rape each other, steal what each other has. Like, I think it gave us very simple instructions, but man always screws up everything good that's ever passed to us. And I don't think those laws are unique to that alien species or whatever it is. I think that those laws are laws of nature, and they're right in line with Mother Nature and the beliefs of atheism. Like, truth is just truth. Doesn't matter the source, doesn't matter where it comes from. But man always takes that and corrupts it and turns it into something else. And so now religions are used to control people and to acquire resources and get them to agree to do things that these ancient commandments told us not to do. Um, and so now we have, the scientists who talk about there are more Earth-like planets in the Milky Way galaxy than grains of sand on all the beaches all over the Earth. So it's mathematically impossible that we're alone. And it's very implausible that all of these different ancient people who saw things come out of the sky were all just worshiping smoke and explosions and gases and the northern lights. They say something came out of the sky, it landed, and it taught us something. To me, that's deep and it's powerful. And I love to talk about this stuff. This is my cup of tea. I don't know anything about it. I don't know anything in terms of, like I said, I don't have any experiences. I haven't been anywhere. No Nordics or anything came out and said, "Hey, brother," But it's important that we think about what comes next. Um, and there's always some aliens the next continent over, right? Like, there's always some aliens around the next bend, the next continent. There's always life everywhere we look. Some people say that aliens are still here, that they live within the earth in great caverns, that they live under the oceans, and they always were here and are here. And I think the Hopi Indians talk about that they kind of just stay just beyond our reach, that they don't really want to interact with us. Off of the coast of California, You guys remember the what was it? The battle for LA, where some sort of flying craft showed up and the military went out there and thousands of people just looked at it and they were shooting all these cannons at it. And I think it was something like 11 people were hit by shrapnel and bullets from the military shooting at this thing. And that was the beginnings of the movie, the Battle for Los Angeles. And I mean, it was well documented. I mean, pictures of it everywhere. I mean, even going back to Washington, D.C. and the invasion on D.C., where they had all the UFOs that appeared over the White House, took pictures of them. They're all in the Washington Post, mind you, big line, most lionest magazine on the planet. Lori said, my mind is going everywhere. Yeah, it does that. You know, it does that. My mind, I don't like to think about what they like us to think about. Anytime government says, oh, the aliens don't exist, I think they might be real. Anytime the government says Bigfoot can't be real, I think Bigfoot might be there. Anytime, you know, I don't believe anything they say. They're always lying to us, and they always have been. So I think it's interesting because I think we have to push our kids to think beyond today. We have to push our kids to think beyond the realms of what we've accepted. Like I talk about, kids are born and they are just these phenomenal little creatures that with open minds, with just amazing possibilities. And we start screwing them up from day one. Day one, we start telling them what to do, what they can't do, where they can't go, what's real and what isn't real. And we form their reality and we screw them up. I think we should always push their minds. Janie said they could be protecting us until we awaken. There could be alien races doing worse than, or alien races doing worse than us. And I think about that, Janie, and I think that even goes back to some of the scriptures where what Revelations talks about how God chained Satan to the ends of time or something like that. And some people say it means that there's some sort of shield around earth or, you know, some sort of protection. They talk about the Dark Knight satellite that actually is protecting Earth, a satellite that was in space that they got signals from even before, you know, we put any satellites up, before Sputnik went up. So it's possible. I mean, if I were some sort of genetic engineer, I would certainly, you know, leave some way to protect my experiment from anything else that might be out there, any of my other experiments. Plausible, makes sense. Um, yes, it is growing from your brain. Jeannie says something's growing. What's growing from our brain? Are you getting into the pineal gland? Humans are the youngest species ever on this planet. We came with emotion, yet also separation. It was a choice. You know what, Gaia? Somebody mentioned that the other day. I was listening to something the other day, and they were talking about love is the evidence that we're actually not from this planet, that nothing else on this planet has love, that it's the smoking gun. It's the reason that we know that we're not a part of this, and that there's something different about us than the other creatures. Like, I think everything else is sentient, in my belief. Like, you look at a cow, when the calf is killed, you look at the elephants, they're definitely sentient. They know what life and death is. But do they have love? It's another question. They're waiting for us to join them, then we stop being idiots. I would hope so, River. I would hope that there is some light at the end of the rainbow and they're just not waiting for us to either kill each other, blow the planet up, that they actually would get involved, like the how the military talks about the aliens that came and they hovered over the nuclear launch facilities. It was on a couple of occasions where the whistleblowers came out and said that ships hovered above them. They started the launch procedure, and just before the missiles were supposed to launch, they shut it down. I think that happened in it's not the Rendlesham Forest event. That was some event in the UK, and it happened a couple times in the United States. And the whistleblowers came forward and said that, like, there was interest in what we're doing with nuclear missiles. I hope they come here and help us evolve. Alicia's saying, I hope so too, Alicia. I'm fearful though that the things that we've been through, it leads me to believe that there's certain things they'll get involved in and a lot of things that they won't. I think there are a lot of things they're letting us figure out on our own. Quantum reality means infinite realities lined up right next to you. Exactly, Janie, and that's my point. Like, if we know there's infinity planets, then we Earth-like planets. We know then there is every option for every possibility of life out there. And now we think that there are infinite dimensions, infinite quantum realities. It means there are versions of Earth that are like 1 second behind us, a billion billions of seconds behind us, humans with 3 eyes, humans with 5 eyes, 8 legs, 4 tongues, and it just makes perfectly good sense that in when there are infinite possibilities, you can't have a finite mind and like I think on these topics. And that's why I think I probably interact with people who have more open minds than closed. Because I think the real interesting discussions you can't have with people who think that they're the biggest game in town or that they're so significant. Like I think that day really is dead. With Kepler and now what's the next one that's coming out? The James Webb telescope that's going to allow us to see even beyond Hubble and actually view those planets to a degree. We know they're there because of the wobble of the suns. But imagine when we can actually get pictures. It's the world is going to change real quickly, very soon. Vishnu, somebody said, exactly. I believe all those things are gods. I believe that all those things are real. I don't think the ancient Indians, the ancient Native Americans, the ancient Europeans, the ancient uh, Aztecs, the Mayans, all of these races, every single continent, they all looked up and said something came out of nowhere. So I completely believe it. Vishnu with 8 arms, and in fact, I think didn't Vishnu go in the mountain? There was a mountain that Vishnu went in afterwards, but I think it's all real. And I think that, when some of these gods said, don't put other gods before me, that maybe the gods were competing for control of the planet and earthlings, that, maybe we were this experiment and one tried to guide the experiment this way, another one tried to guide it that way. Who knows? Um, let's see. It's going to be 30 degrees tonight here in Montana. My kitchen looks like a florist. Hold on. Aliens like warm weather like me. Well, Gretchen, I would say, I got to go down in the comments. I'm way up. I would say that aliens like everything. I would say because we know there are ice planets, there are water worlds, there are diamond worlds, there are coal worlds, there are really hot worlds. I think that you would have every type of alien that's out there. We when we look for life, we expect life to like it like us. Got to be 70 degrees, lots of oxygen, H2O and water. But now we know there are silica-based life forms they found in California. Was it silicon-based life forms I think they found in that lake that they knew couldn't evolve on the planet Earth? It was either silica or I forgot what it was. They found a pool of life that wasn't carbon based, and so it didn't evolve here. So I think they're probably all different types of aliens. Is the world getting better, or is evil just shifting around? It's a good question, Hamo. I don't think we're getting better. I think evil is getting better at hiding. I think that we're evolving some of our evils to be sneakier at what they do. I don't think that the world is getting less evil. I don't think we're really learning a lot of lessons. I think that we're actually getting worse. Um, I think we're still in the dark ages. I don't think we ever left the dark ages. I just think they hid a lot of it. Um, Lori says we are the threat, and we are the threat. I'm way up in comments. Let me move down. Um, you're a seeker. Keep going, Christine. I think we all got to be seekers. I think we all have to seek the truth. I think we got to really have open minds about everything and admit that we know nothing about anything anymore. Um, Gerard, your mind has been everywhere. Yes, Lori, I push it to the limits. I push it everywhere I can. People send me stuff, I watch it all day long, and I want to know what I don't know. You know, it's our obligation, I think, to hand a better world, a more evolved world to our kids. And we have to stop living within our own indoctrinations and expand our mind. That's why a lot of my Christian friends are a little upset with me. I still believe in Christ. I just believe that when God said that that the Christians weren't supposed to put any other gods before him, I don't think I don't think God was talking about golden calves. I think God was saying, yes, there's a whole bunch of us out here. I want y'all to follow me. I got the best instructions, but they're instructions that came from other places. With, you know, like I said, Vishnu and Buddha and all the rest of them. Um, you know, the book said to study to show yourself approved, and the Bible didn't exist back then. So there were a lot of other scriptures and a lot of other books and truths that I think we all should be studying. River said the battle for LA, idiot military fired on them, killed people so dumb. Yes, River, and I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. And that's the problem, is that if we aren't open-minded enough to actually have these discussions, that we pull our head from out of our a very dark place, then very sick people will interface with whatever's coming here. And I don't think that the people who run this planet are qualified to talk to anybody else from any other planets. I think the people who run this planet, they need cushy, warm rubber rooms with straight jackets that tie around the back. We don't want them talking for us ever. You know, this idea that they would be shooting down UFOs. I mean, how many whistleblowers have come forward and said that there are programs in the government that try to shoot down UFOs for technology? You know, how sick is that? How evil it, but it makes perfectly good sense. They murder us like we're nothing. So yeah, it would make sense that they would do that. You maybe can get answers if you quiet that mind, meditate, do Reiki, etc. Yes, Christine, we were always told by the ancients to do that. And that's one thing that's missing from most religions is meditation. Spiritual people get that. They meditate all the time. Religions, I don't think I've ever been in one church or temple where they actually really focused on meditation or taught the people. There are a lot, don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying I haven't been in one. I think that meditation, Christine, it puts you more in tap with whatever these things are out there. I think stillness of mind allows you to possibly communicate or tap into things at some sort of a quantum level, or pick up, I don't know, some sort of signals that you do when people use like the DMT and the psychedelics and things like that. So I think it makes perfectly good sense that you don't actually have to use those chemicals to activate those sections of your brain, that there are some people who have stillness of mind through meditation that can actually turn those on. And that actually was written somewhere, or I heard that it was written somewhere, that stillness. Many governments already come out and admitted that aliens exist and they have contacted them. Yeah, Brother John, there were a whole bunch of them. What is it? Something like 14 or 15 nations released all their UFO files. America's still holding on to theirs. They're not trying to tell you guys nothing. They could care less, little secret bastards. One of the most interesting ones, Brother John, was it Grenada? I forgot his name. It was the president of Grenada. He came to the UN and he basically said, no, he said that they found an alien body that was in a lake. And they took pictures of it, and the United States, I guess they called the United States Air Force or something like that, because Grenada was a part of it. And they took the alien, something like that. And later, when he wasn't so friendly with America, I forgot his name. Somebody can post his name. I did talk about him a long time ago. I'm getting old. I'd see if I can find it. But he went to the UN and he had a hearing on it, so that the UN would directly address, it was either UN or NATO, and they had a resolution that they were actually going to look into the UFO topic because other nations agreed with them. And by the time he got back to his country, I believe it was Grenada, they already overthrew his government. That damn CIA. This is why I don't trust them. I don't trust them at all. They're always up to something. And so at the end of that, but you can still go out on the UN website. I think I posted that link a long time ago. I forgot his name, but he actually, I don't remember his name. But yeah, a lot of nations have come out and said it. You know, we aren't alone. It may be that aliens avoid certain developed countries for whatever reason. You know, I've got friends in Mexico and South America who say they see him all the time. It's nothing new. I mean, you look at the Mexican government and what they have like on the helicopter cams. Oh my, it's ridiculous. I mean, there are hundreds and hundreds of different um, occasions where they film these things. You know, but then it warrants the other question: are a lot of them really aliens, or are they just United States Air Force craft? Because you know we got tons of secret aircraft. So I wonder. It's always an interesting topic. Let me see what else you guys got. What if reincarnation is real and we are living all our lives in the same moment? We get insights from our other selves. Ooh. Jennifer, that leads me into thinking about water. You know how they're talking about now how water has memory, and that you actually water crystallizes itself and it stores memory. That you could actually drink water and be drinking the water that someone else drank 1,000 years ago. So what if you did that? Is it possible that your DNA picks up on some of the memories or some of the things that that water discovered, or as it filtered through somebody else's body or something? I don't know. They talk about how the rocks have memory, how the pyramids were built from certain rocks that have memory. There's certain, what are the stone circles in Africa that actually are made from a certain type of rock that you can actually store memory in. So I think there are all kind of things. It's probably, you know, not just reincarnation, but just touching a rock might do something. Like a good question, Jennifer, is what is a ghost? I think that we can imprint energy on things, and I think we can pick up energy from things. And it makes perfectly good sense to me that, you know, all of these ghost shows, when they go in and they got these meters and they're like measuring energy coming from the mirror and the furniture and whatever else. I think if traumatic things happen to you, like in cases of like really blunt or horrible murderous events, that your brain goes through some sort of a big bang type event or some sort of just, you know, immense trauma that imprints on the furniture or the jewelry or the doll or something. And that's some scary stuff. That's I don't like ghosts. Go, Jennifer. I'm gonna stop there. Ghosts scare the hell out of me. But you know, but I sit there and I wonder, well, what is that? Um, but there's so many things we just simply don't know. Ooh, Lori talking about dogs. Yes, dog. Well, dogs. Do dogs have love? I don't know if they have love. I know that they have loyalty. I'm not sure if it's really love. But dogs see things that we don't. What if dogs came from another dimension? What if wolves aren't from here? What if wolves evolved on a planet and they were in tune with a certain levels of quantum energy where they could see a slightly different dimension? Like, you ever sit there and your dog gets upset and starts barking at something and you don't see anything, but the dog is like flipping out? It's because that dog that evolved on a different plane might see something that we can't. I don't know. The nebula is growing from your brain and you keep looking into it. Oh, you keep looking up into it. You're too grounded in 3D. Our sentient being, the other sentient beings love. We all are love. Love the creator, expander, the love, or the all. My 2 cents and 18 cents with inflation. I'm thinking, Christine, well, when they were saying love, when they're saying that we're the only species with love, I think they're talking more like romantic type love, not love in terms of we're a pack and we all work together and take care of each other and we're sad when we lose one. But there's no romantic love. I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know of any creatures in nature that have a sort of romantic love, that spend romantic evenings together and blow kisses. And what is kissing anyway? And do animals kiss? And I know certain animals only, certain, I think it was lovebirds, they'll only mate with one their entire life. I'm not sure that we call that love. Ty, welcome, Ty. You're never on this late. No, Ty, you know what? I was just sitting back. I was drinking my tea, and I posted something about rice. And I was thinking about rice plants. And rice plants have over 50,000 genes, and they've been here almost a billion years. And human beings only been here a couple 100,000 years, and we only got 26,000 genes. Alligators, they've been here, what was it, 800 million years or 500 million years, whatever it is. They haven't evolved brains to really think and talk and do those things that we do. I think that we had help. I think we're genetically engineered. And that just led me down to different pathways, and I figured I'd come on and just run my mouth and see what you guys think about some alien theories. I don't get a chance to talk about this stuff too much. Like I said, people keep doing dumb stuff, starting wars. Cut it out. All the animals that mate for life have love. It's possible, Lori. I don't know. It was just someone said that. Someone said it was interesting when they said it to me. Oh, wow, I'm way down in the comments. You guys are talking tonight. You guys, a lot of alien topics. Some of y'all just like me. Would love to see the other planets. Helen, you know what, Helen? I think we already have. I do. I think that we've already seen them and we've already been there. Helen, I don't believe that we make satellites that cost $1 billion and we send them up with blurry cameras. I think that we make satellites that cost $1 billion and we put really horrible cameras on them, and we put very highly detailed cameras on them. And I think they only show us the blurry pictures because the things that are on those planets, they really don't want us to see. Like per pixel, we'll see 100 square feet. I think the best I thought I ever saw once was like one pixel was something like 60 feet or something. They don't obviously want us to see what's on the planets up there, for some good reasons, because there's things up there they want to discover first. So I kind of think America and Britain and China and these nations that get up there, they're actively out there doing things, and they're on those planets. I honestly believe that. The whole, what is it called? The deep space program, that we actually have a deep space program and we're actually out there. There were a couple whistleblowers who came forward on that. Who was the kid in the UK who actually broke into NASA's computers and saw a manifest for deep space officers, and they were trying to extradite. The United States was like going to the nines to try to extradite him from the UK. The UK wouldn't. Gary McKinnon, right? Gary McKinnon. So I thought that was real interesting. Ancient astronauts. Helen, I don't know. They talk about Vimanas in those books, and I think that if in India and the Egyptians and Atlantis and all the ancient creatures talk about these flying ships, I think there's something there. Let me see, what up? I don't think space is how they tell us. I think space is reference to lands outside the Antarctic ice wall. Okay, Shaka, I don't know. I know that they lie, and that's my stance on everything. My stance is that they're lying. Government can't have any secrets about anything because they use all this crap to divide us. They never tell us the truth about anything, and it creates all these different theories, and people, aliens aren't real and aliens are real, and they're just, humans in the future that are coming back, whatever. And I think government stays multiple steps ahead of us because we're liable in terms of we're easy to lie to. We accept their lies, and so they lie to us. That's why my main stance is for like uniting people, government can't have any secrets. They have no logical right to have any secrets whatsoever, especially Western governments with all the weapons. They don't need to be scared of anybody. Their militaries don't need any secrets. And if the people actually run their governments, then there shouldn't be any secrets. And plus, I think that the technologies that they have, that they utilize for weapons of warfare, whether they got them from aliens or they invented it themselves, I think they withhold a lot of technology from us, and a lot of us die because of it. And I think that alone is the biggest case for treason and why they shouldn't have any secrets. And they should just be lucky that we don't put them all in prisons or the gulags for having those secrets. The highest level of technology has to be utilized to save human life and to provide for human life, not to take human life and rob their resources. And that's what they do. Military industrial complex. Many modern kid cartoons include aliens. Has anyone noticed that? Yes, Jeannie, I have, and I'm an old guy. Going back and when I was a kid, aliens just wasn't a topic at all. You were a nut job if you even thought about aliens. Very few of the comics even had aliens. Now they're everywhere. They're in all the movies. There's always an alien movie. There's alien cartoons. I think they're preparing us for something. You have the whistleblowers who came forward who saying they're preparing us for a false flag alien invasion where United States Air Force will pretend to invade the world. I think Trump even falls in line with that. What do you talk about, Space Force? I think they're even preparing us with Space Force. I think some were declassified last year for us. Yeah, they're always, well, you know what? I think America, Jeannie, they declassify some things. They don't declassify the full story. They're always trying to walk us to believe something. The other nations just released all their files. They're honest with their people. Ours is always lying to us. He said Freeman said the CIA is your first friend. Okay. In a multiverse, odds are in at least one of them, I'm an alien. In a multiverse, odds are in at least one of them, I'm an alien. Okay, Jennifer, I'm trying to go along with that thought concept. If you're an alien, then you need to call me. We need to talk. We got some problems on this planet to fix. We need to figure out how y'all made it, what the hell happened, how you got off your rock, and how you guys didn't kill each other. Oh, Lori said, I'm a uniter with a loving heart. Well, thank you, Lori. I'm not sure if I'm all of that in terms of uniting. I definitely love people, and I think we have more reasons to get along than to fight each other. So for me, everything is about, let's have conversations. Let's dialogue. Let's figure out who each other are. We've been kept apart, ignorant, indoctrinated sides keep us fighting. Life is more interesting with weird people. Life is more interesting when we discover things we haven't known. But when we stick to our own little pod craziness, we suck. Pods suck. But open ideas and theories are interesting. Like I think Brother Shaka, I think where you're going is flat earth. And I'm good with that. I love that. I think that's a fascinating theory. I'm not sure that I agree. I'm not sure that I know enough to agree or even disagree. I'm not even sure that I even agree or disagree with anything. I just think it's all interesting. And until we go to Antarctica, I think your theory is as plausible as everybody else's, if there's an ice wall or not. I've never been there. That's why I don't deny what anybody has to say. I've never been to space. We might go to space. And what if it's oxygen in space? And they're lying to us. They could be lying to us about that. There could be oxygen in space. You could have big space whales flying and swimming all out in space. We'd have no idea. All I know is that they lied to us about the past. They deleted all of our history. They deleted all of our cultures from every country, every continent. And why would you do that? Like, why would you actually do that unless there was something bigger and better that was in the ancient past that they just don't want people to know, that they want to worship? They want us to worship their lords and their kings like they're gods. And the ancients all talked about aliens. All of them. Every last one of them. Norma said they love Mexicans. I know they do. Mexicans have much more love in their heart than a lot of Western countries. So I'm sure aliens do, especially if they made us. You know, it's like your dogs. When you have dogs, if you got the violent dogs are always fighting and ripping each other apart, you don't love this as much as the kinder dogs. And maybe it's a thing of circumstance. I mean, we're all the same. We all have the same brains, but you know, certain nations, they're more predisposed to peace and love because of perhaps the environments that they have. Reincarnation, mental continuum. That's deep, Elaine. I think I do kind of believe in reincarnation. I'm not sure that I know what it is, but how do we explain deja vu? How do we explain the Mandela effect? Like the Mandela effect is a thing. It's a thing. I'm not sure that it's everything that everybody talks about, but when you think back, the past is different. I was listening to a theory the other day. They were talking about how the Mandela effect is because they're going back. Humans are going back in time. In the future, we discovered a time machine, or how to make this time travel, warping space, and change the past. And that by them changing the past, that our memories don't necessarily change, or there's some sort of an energy or quantum hiccup. And that's what a lot of that is, whether it's deja vu or something else. I think that's very possible. Water is totally life. Yes, Lori, it is. Absolutely. My ghost baby gives me comfort. Ooh, that's beautiful. You know what? And that's interesting, Lori. Just because a baby isn't born doesn't mean that it's not here on some sort of a quantum level. Like if we were talking about when we first started this, that what if somebody said, what if souls were quantum entangled, right? So you have a soul that's quantum entangled with a creature here, and it rides these human being things. But when the human being dies, the soul no longer has a connection to this plane. Well, that soul is still on the other dimension, the other quantum area. And I guess at its next opportunity, it gets quantum tangled with a new human life thing. Reincarnation. Makes perfectly good sense to me. And that we all know each other on the other side. So it's not like an alien thing, but it's like a quantum thing. Could possibly be. And it could explain why when people die, they still feel like they're here. Like I have people who are close to me who died, and I still feel them. I have conversations with them all the time, you know, and I hear them in my head, like not crazy, like audible type, you know, that's not crazy, but not audible type stuff, but you still feel their presence. Maybe they're still here. Maybe heaven is just another dimension. It's not in the sky, but it's some sort of another dimension, and it's all energy based. Could make perfectly good sense. I think quantum physics changed everything. I think it can change our understanding for everything. Cats see things we don't also. Yes, Brother Joe, they do. And it's just like there's something there. But it's not just that too. You know, you call them crazy people, but schizophrenic people and people in these asylums. Now they're sitting there and they're talking to people and they're having conversations. We call them crazy and we're like, you're not, you're crazy. How do you know they're crazy? How do you know that their brain isn't just somehow a few genes got flipped and now they have the ability to kind of see one of these quantum souls that is just in a slightly different dimension that we can't see? That's why I love the topic. We just don't know anything. And if you have an open mind, you can discuss these things. You can dabble a little more in reality and less in our indoctrinated lies. Agree that the powers that be don't let us see the good pictures that the satellite takes. I mean, they cost billions of dollars and can't take a clear picture. Exactly, Brother Joe. They have clear pictures. They have completely clear pictures. They know every inch of the moon. They know every inch of the planet. They know the seafloor on Earth. Do we actually believe that they don't have clear pictures of the moon? Of course they do. They're just not for us. Of course they have perfectly clear pictures of Mars and the face and all that stuff up there. It's just not for us. Because as long as we are down here fighting each other over dumb stuff, they really don't have to show us anything. They don't have to tell us anything. They can hide everything from us. I think, and what would be the theory as to why? If there are structures all over the moon, like my good friend Donna Hare talks about in her testimony, the world would stop. We'd magically all have something in common. We would stop listening to governments and we would start listening to each other. We'd lean more towards spirituality and what these God things are and less to worshiping banks and money. Our bank accounts wouldn't be our saviors, but we would be looking at a greater power. And that's the last thing any dominating force wants. So absolutely, there's no way they can show us the pictures that are up there. Melba said the psychopaths are compelled to lie because that's what they do well. They lie, and holding back information is a very powerful thing, and that's what they do. Cartoon Space Wars. Have to leave a waiting room where one was playing recently. It was revolting. Yeah, Melba, and that's kind of a dangerous topic, trying to normalize with kids that war in space is normal, that war in the future is a good idea, a normal thing or a good thing, and it's not. But psychopaths run all this. They run the media, and so of course they run the television shows, and they want to keep this war thing going. They don't want to let it go. They want to keep normalizing generation after generation that violence actually is a viable solution. And so they don't want it to stop. They need human beings murdering each other. They need people signing up to the military. They need people in the police force. They need people in the CIA and the FBI. They need to keep alive keeping 7 billion humans killing each other. Because if they ever stop killing each other, they'll turn on the psychopaths. Aliens cannot stand our atmosphere. We have hybrids on Earth. Norma, that makes you've been nailing it lately, sister. You've been saying a lot of deep things, and it makes sense. I mean, that was the whole theory with what War of the Worlds, and even going back to creation stories. You know, why would God utilize the dust of the earth to make human beings? Well, because we have to exist on this earth, and if we don't have the microbiology that's been here for 1 billion years and the genetics in the monkeys, the 98% monkey DNA, we wouldn't make it, right? You just can't take a creature that evolved on the planet Melmac, I think that's where Alpha was from, and put it on Earth. It'll die. It has no idea what the microbiology is here. It's just like eating GMOs. Your body doesn't know the structure. Your body perhaps hasn't even seen the compounds. And so if your body can't destroy it, it instantly is going to be something that's going to cause problems, a carcinogen. Bringing an alien here and being exposed to our water, our oxygen, our air would certainly, well, it would theoretically be a real death sentence for whatever that creature is. Because everything on the planets evolved to work together. They evolved to fight the bad and work with the good. You know, which is the big scare of just dust. I think the moon is safe because the moon is made of the same thing that the same compounds that the earth is and minerals. But who knows about Mars? Who knows about some of the other planets or the other solar systems, the other galaxies? You know, there could be compounds there. There could be a compound that if it touched your skin, it would dissolve multicellular flesh that's carbon-based. You know, so we have no idea. few of my favorite alien flicks. Cocoon. Oh, Cocoon was awesome, Jeannie. I remember Cocoon. Um, and E.T. E.T. was awesome. Scary Route. Alien. Yeah. The latest Alien was pretty off the hook, too. We reincarnate in the one life we are living, thus born again. Hmm. I think got to chew on that one for a little bit, sister. Um, Mandela effect was caused by CERN. It's like a Sinbad genie movie. I remember back in the day watching, but then say it never existed. And the Berenstain Bears. Oh yeah, like the Berenstain Bears or the Berenstein Bears, right? And I think, and it came from what Mandela and the thinking that Mandela actually died when really he just went to prison. Some of those things are a little wonky in my head too. Star Wars, Luke, I am your father is another one. So there's something there, Shaka. I don't know what it is, but yeah, I mean, there's something about the Mandela effect. I don't know what it is. There's something. I completely agree with you. Um, the plan for keeping one bloodline did not pan out. We are emotional beings, and love did bypass the original plan. There are many wars over this planet, wars not of Earth. That would make sense, Gaia. That would make a lot of sense. And where was that? There was wasn't there an alien space battle in Europe going back and they made a painting of it? What was that? There was a country in Europe where there was an alien space battle and there was a painting of it. And the whole town sat there and watched all of these ships, the long cylindrical ones that people take pictures of. I think someone wrote a book called the ring makers for Saturn. And you have the airline pilots that talk about the cylindrical UFOs, the big massive ones. But there was a town in Europe, somebody, if they remember which town it was or which country, they sat there and they watched an alien battle and little ships coming out and fighting each other. So I think there probably were planets. I mean, there were probably planetary wars over Earth. Like I said, I think that, yeah, there probably are the nefarious ones and the malevolent ones. And the ancients seems to agree with that, and they wrote ridiculous levels of stories about it. And I'm just one, I don't think that the ancients were just like bored and had nothing to do. I think that if they took time out of their busy lives to actually write this stuff down, draw pictures and paintings and try to get us to remember in the future. And remember, a lot of this is done in a time where nobody could read, right? So you go back, I mean, you've got ancients writing things down, and less than 1% of their population could actually read their written languages. So they weren't writing it to control people then. They were writing this stuff down because what they saw was quite important. Yes, thank you. Somebody just posted the Belgrade art. Right, who's that? Brother Mark, always spot on. In Belgrade, like you can go back and look at it. Yeah, man, I'll pull a picture of it up. I think I'm cute enough to pull a picture. I get old, I don't remember all this. That's why I got friends. It was like a Belgrade UFO battle or something. I don't know if I can pull up the picture. And then they drew a picture of it. No, I'm not seeing the painting that I want. There's actually a painting. Or that might just be a different one. Let me do this. I'm gonna do Europe UFO battles. Let's see. There's a There was a painting. Oh, well, I did that, and of course, all the Foo Fighters came up. You guys remember the Foo Fighters? The Foo Fighters from World War II. There's the picture from the Battle for Los Angeles right there. That's the one where they were trying to shoot down the UFO. Silly military. And then I think you got the well, that's not a Foo Fighter there, but there's some sort of a flying orb underneath one of the old, what was that? That old French jet. I remember this one. This is, see if that comes up. That was one that they said was taken from, I think it was a submarine, where the ship came out of the ocean. The military snapped that picture. I'm not sure if this one was real, but this was supposed to be one of the German Die Glocke, the bell. Here's another one. This is just when that ship came out. Nope, that can't be it. It's like someone doctored that. But that's what it's supposed to look like. And then so this is the Foo Fighters. So going back to World War II, the B-17 pilots, World War One, Foo Fighters. Um, I think that was Ancient Aliens. Yes, that World War One. Let me go down to the bottom comments. I'm so far behind. So, I mean, there's tons and tons of good information. I just don't think that everybody's lying, right? Like like the idea that everybody's lying is insane. And it's more plausible now that we know that there are all these planets out there, that there's just a lot out there we have no idea about. And perhaps time that we really stop playing with this idea that we're alone. I think it's time that we stop agreeing with our own egos that we're so great and there's nothing else. Oh, here it is right here. This is the one I was talking about. Where is this at? Nuremberg, Germany. This was in 1561. It was a painting of a UFO battle in 1561. Of course, they didn't have cameras back then. And they drew a picture of all of the smaller orbs and crosses, mind you, crosses that came out of the larger cylindrical UFOs. You know, so I don't think that people made all this stuff up. And I think, I mean, but you know, the biggest problem, here's another picture of it right here. You know, and so they drew a painting of it trying to show people in the future what was going on. Angels and demons fighting, you know, two different species fighting over who gets to send the next god down to Earth. So yeah, it's an interesting thing. There's another Battle for Los Angeles right there. But, you know, the biggest problem is you just don't know what's genuine, because people have Photoshop now. They got all kind of games to play. Like the old pictures, you know, I think are real plausible. Like this one. Like this was the UFO that came out of the ocean that the military snapped a picture of. You know, like through a periscope, through the submarine. Like these things would be hard to fake back in World War I and World War II. You know, but nowadays with Photoshop, you know, you can't really lean on a lot of this stuff because you have a lot of people who are playing games and making up stuff. You know, a lot of the plausible discussions are around what the pilots say, right? When most pilots actually believe in UFOs because they see them all the time. We don't know what's human though, what's military, U.S. military, and we don't know what actually could be from somewhere else. You know, some more Foo Fighters. A lot of interesting things. That's like, oh, here's another one. This is still going back to, this is medieval UFOs, and I think this was another painting of that same UFO battle. It's just all really interesting stuff. Really, really delicious, interesting. This is the same one right there. You know, UFOs crashed. Oh, is this the one from? You guys remember that UFO that shut down the airport in, where was that, China recently? That was interesting. You know, you got airplanes taking off and a UFO appears over. I don't want to say the name of the airport, but they shut down the airport for like a couple hours and no airplanes could take off because there was a UFO just sitting right there, and they took all these pictures of the UFO that was floating. That was an interesting one. Interesting stuff. So anyway, and of course all the triangle UFOs that people see, and all very interesting. Who knows? I don't know. All I know is that our life here doesn't make sense. The planet doesn't make sense. I think we worry about a lot of things that are insignificant because they're profitable. We probably should be worrying about more things that are more significant because they unite Late Night People. Now this was a good one. Where was this? This was, I don't know, I don't remember if this was Moon or the Mars, but all of these structures are supposed to be up there. Once again, you don't know what's like a real picture and what's somebody's just kind of screwing with you. That's the only reason why I'm a skeptic on, like, I don't deal with the topic as much as I used to, because you don't like to get played. I don't like to waste my time. I don't like to waste anybody else's time. You know, and there are a lot of people who have a lot of fun making up pictures. It's supposed to be one of the military's triangle UFOs. OMG. Look for Nevada radio in the middle of the night. They were always talking about UFOs when I lived in Quincy, my first 2 years of TV. We listened to everything, and we're only about a little over an hour from Reno. Well, Jeannie, but I think something happened. Like, something happened, and they convinced everybody to make the topic ridiculous. And so everyone became scared of it. So everyone's scared of UFOs, and they're scared of the topic, and you're crazy if you talk about it. That's a good time that we live in. Rest in peace, Art Bell. Yes, Brother Dale. Art Bell died. Coast to Coast. I used to listen to Coast to Coast all the time. It was a great show. And most of it I think was fantasy. I think most of it was, you know, the vampires and the ghosts and fun stuff. And it was fun. But every now and then things would make sense. Which is why I don't care about fake news, Brother Dale. Because when you like listen to Coast, after a while, you start to be able to weed out, you know, what the select few say and what a large majority say. And that's why I think fake news is important. Because it helps you to be able to discern what's more plausible than not. It's one of the reasons I like Coast to Coast. Oh yeah, remember this one? This was the in the one this is one on one of the Christian paintings where they drew a UFO. I don't see the main one. Maybe the psychos running the world are aliens, which is why they only want the minerals and don't care about humanity. Brother Joe, you like scaring me, man. It's kind of late for that. That's possible. That's scary. It's sick. It actually makes a lot of sense. You know, getting back to just their ability to kill people and not care. Their ability to start wars and not give a damn about how many people die in it. It's hard to fathom how the things the United States government actually does are human. Like, it's hard to fathom that these people are human beings. If they're aliens, Brother Joe, then it makes sense. They don't care. If they are human beings, they're serious psychopaths. I used to listen to it driving home from work at 2 a.m. Yeah, Lori, I used to listen to Coast to Coast late at night. Now they got a YouTube channel. I used to listen to it and just, for the most part, to go to sleep. But it definitely would expose you to the various topics and give you a chance to be able to discern what's true and what's not, or what's true-ish, what's plausible and what isn't. The aliens are at the Bilderberg meeting. Christine, now, all right, girl. I believe that. I do. I believe that. You know what I think? You know when I think Obama first met the aliens? I remember when his first term or the first term before his first term he was campaigning, and Bush was McCain was campaigning, Obama was campaigning, and they both got called to the White House. And before Obama went in the White House, he was against the bailouts. He was against He was against the bailouts. And they went in that meeting, and it was supposed to be just Bush and McCain and Obama, and Bush canceled both of their campaigns temporarily to go back to the White House to have that emergency meeting. And when Obama came out that meeting, he's like, "We got to do the bailouts. Got to do the bailouts. Got to do the bailouts." I was never convinced that it was McCain or Bush in that room that made Obama, who was a really intelligent guy. Give him credit where credit's due. He's an intelligent guy. He's a murdery bastard, but or he had to do that while he was in office, whatever you want to say. But he went in that room and he came out. I think if anything will change your religion and make you turn around on a topic and flip flop as a politician, is when you meet the aliens. I think Trump maybe went in there too. And we're going to clean up the swamp. We're going to take care of the swamp. We're going to do this and do that. And they sat him down. And it's not going to be any peace. You meet some aliens, that'll change your mind. So, going to meet with Obama at White House changed Sanders. I think the aliens might have a room at the White House, Melba. Maybe you go to the White House and you sit down. Once you meet the aliens, they tell you, nah, that's not how this thing works. You know, we're the malevolent ones. You can't have that world peace now. You know, we're gonna have to. This is the old Christian painting that had the UFO flying in the background. That's what that one was from. He was for the little guy that became Prez. Yeah, and you know what it might be too? You know how people talk about how the presidents are clones? Sometimes I wonder, are they really clones, or is it like a multi-dimensional alien K-Pax type thing where it's the same person? Trump is in office, but he's not making his own decisions. Or Obama's in office and he's not making his own. I don't know. We don't know anything. We just don't know anything. Anything is possible. Oh, this is a picture or a drawing of the description of the Vimanas, the flying ships that used to be there. All interesting topics. Oh yeah, and volcanoes. They say when there's certain volcanoes that go off that they're UFOs that people see that fly over volcanoes like they're doing some kind of study. People say when the not Chernobyl, but the nuclear disaster in Japan, Fukushima, they said that they saw UFO craft there too. And once again, it could be United States Air Force. We don't know anything. Right, Anthony, it could be the same person, different physical body, or it could be the same body, different soul, or different spirit. What if it's like a remote control? What if they know in that dimension, or aliens in this dimension have figured out how to tap into quantum physics and tune into the brain passageway of your brain? Like, isn't that one of the things Edgar Cayce talked about, that he would go to sleep and wake up and the problems would just be in his head. He would know how to do this and that. There's another one. Tesla said that too. So what if they're like downloading information, and the same technology they use to download information, they can use to actually input ideas in our head, give us ideas. Like, it may not even be mind control. It could just be suggestion. They suggest that this is a good idea and you can't, you're still in control of yourself, but that suggestion is just too powerful. They suggest to Obama, you got to do the bailouts. Bailouts are a good idea. And magically he's thinking, yep, we got to do the bailouts. Or they just replace them with a clone. I don't know. I believe anything. All I know is they lie to us all the time. Well, guys, it's been awesome. It's late. My tea is cold. I'm going to have to take my old butt to bed. Thanks for hanging out. A lot of fun. I always love the alien topic. I have to spend a little more time on it here and there. Just kind of theorizing. It's interesting to open your mind to kind of think about the connections between the religions and the sciences and what's happening in our world today. I think it's a powerful thing to do. Anyway, thanks for hanging out. It was a lot of fun. Y'all have a good night now. This is Gerard.